On the day the college entrance exam results were released, my sister used Aladdin's lamp to swap my score of 723 with hers, making her the top scorer in the exam. She was so excited she twisted with glee. What does it matter if we're twins? One is destined for Peking University, the other is destined to roast sweet potatoes. She didn't know I had been reborn. She had Aladdin's lamp. But I had the power to change one word in the storyline. I moved my finger, changed 723 to 232. Setting things right, so I went to Peking University, and she roasted sweet potatoes. On the day of checking the college entrance exam results, my sister looked at the 723 points, so excited she was almost contorted. What's the big deal about being twins? One is destined for Peking University, the other destined to roast sweet potatoes. Mom, we must celebrate tonight. As for my sister, why not let her go out to work early? She can earn money to support me through college. My mother glared at me and started scolding me harshly. Look at your sorry self. Both of you came from my womb, yet one is in heaven and the other is in the gutter. Are you sure you're not the debt collector I gave birth to? I looked at my 723-point college entrance exam score and sneered inwardly. If I hadn't heard my sister's wish to Aladdin's magic lamp 10 minutes ago, I might have actually believed it. She has Aladdin's magic lamp, and I have the power to change one word in the storyline. I moved my finger, pressed the plot prompt, changed the 723 inside to 223, and reminded them with a smile. Mom, take a closer look. What's the actual score? My mom and my sister looked carefully, then let out a wail and burst into tears. What's going on? I clearly saw 723 just now. Only after I died did I realize that I was a cannon fodder supporting character in a campus novel, the foil to the female lead. Despite being twins, our fates and treatment were worlds apart, one in the heavens, the other in the dirt. The female lead is Mingzhu, my twin sister, and I am Mingwei. Just from our names, you can see my mother's favoritism. One is cherished like a pearl, the other is humble as dust. In the original plot, it was clearly me who studied hard, yet it turned into her getting into Tsinghua University while I ended up selling roasted sweet potatoes. The money from selling roasted sweet potatoes had to be used to support her studies at Peking University. Clearly, I was the one who met the male lead first, yet it turned into them flying off together, and I had to make way for true love. Even when I accidentally got disabled by a gas tank explosion at a neighboring food stall while setting up a street stall, I was still treated to the classic line from a scumbag, you only lost your legs, but your sister lost her love. It was only later that I found out my sister had an Aladdin's lamp. My mother's youth, my sister's beauty, and even my sister's college entrance exam scores were all things they exchanged for with me. Having lost everything, I sat in my wheelchair and reached the top floor, then leaped down. This time, I not only came back to life but also bound myself to a word-changing system. Looking at my nervous sister and mother, I began to sneer. Since fate has given me another chance, along with a powerful golden finger, watch me take you down without using any cheat codes. The mother and daughter seemed unwilling to believe the exchange had failed, checking the results over and over, but the outcome remained the same. Su Mingzhu gradually broke down, starting from hysteria. Then, she turned her gaze toward me. I moved my hand and pressed the plot prompt button, then saw a line of text float before my eyes. Su Mingzhu walked up to Su Mingwei with an angry expression and loudly questioned, Su Mingwei, you wretch. Is it you causing trouble? Clearly, the one who should have scored 223 points is you. I moved my finger and changed walk to knelt. Then, the arrogant Su Mingzhu suddenly knelt down with a thud and loudly questioned, Su Mingwei, you wretch, is it you causing trouble? Clearly, the one who should have scored 223 points is you. Su Mingzhu was dumbfounded, while I laughed so hard I nearly doubled over. Sis, you never study hard, so scoring this low is only natural. If you really got 723, that would be a ghost story. Oh, don't kneel. What's the use of begging me on your knees? Even if you beg, I can't turn your 223 into 723. Sorry, sis, but the one roasting sweet potatoes should be you. My mother had always favored Su Mingzhu, and seeing me laughing so hard I was convulsing, she became furious. Seeing that the plot was about to be triggered, I pressed the plot prompt again. Mother Su slapped Su Mingwei across the face. You little jinx, she's so upset and you're still laughing. I always said you were nothing but trouble. I casually changed Wei to Zhu. Originally, my mother intended to slap me in the face, but with the help of the golden finger, she ended up slapping Su Mingzhu instead. At that moment, Su Mingzhu was still kneeling on the ground, and the slap caught her completely off guard. She fell to the floor, blood trickling from the corner of her mouth, her face filled with disbelief. Mom, you actually hit me? Watching the mother and daughter blame each other, I turned and walked into the room. The moment the door closed, I heard my mother question, "That Aladdin's lamp of yours, could it be fake?" My sister immediately screamed, "How could it be fake? Look at yourself, aren't you 20 years younger? And look at me, aren't I prettier than her?" Looking at myself in the mirror, I felt an even deeper chill in my heart. Although Su Mingju and I are twins, we don't look alike at all, fortunately. I was prettier than her since childhood, while she was rather plain-looking. In my previous life, when I woke up one day, I felt that all my facial features had changed, and I even looked much more mature. My mother comforted me, saying it was because I stayed up late studying and was under a lot of pressure, which made me look haggard. My sister, upon seeing my appearance, deliberately dragged me to parade around with her. During the meal, the server remarked, "Miss, are you here to eat with your mom? You and your mom have such a great relationship." I clearly remember my sister covering her mouth and laughing exaggeratedly, gleefully explaining to the server, "This isn't my mom, she's my twin sister. She's just under a lot of study pressure and has aged a bit prematurely." At that time, I had no idea that the reason for such a drastic change in me was because my mom had my sister use Aladdin's magic lamp to trade away 20 years of my youth. She paraded me around town, but it was all just to show off. Even worse, because I looked too mature, my sister posted a short video of me being mistaken for her mother, which garnered billions of views, went viral across the internet, and turned her into an influencer with millions of followers. Looking back on all of this, it only brings me anger and humiliation. Just then, there was a knock at the door. My mom and my sister stopped arguing, and my sister immediately responded in a sweet voice, "Coming." I knew that at this moment, it should be the male lead from the original story, my scumbag boyfriend, who would later become my brother-in-law. I moved my fingers again and pressed the plot prompt. Su Mingju opened the door, saw that the visitor was Lu Gu, and immediately threw herself into his arms, crying like a kitten. "This is easy to handle." The moment the door opens, I change the cat inside to pig, and then elegantly walk out of the room. Then I saw my younger sister throw herself into Lu Ji's arms, crying while making pig-like grunts. My mom even added a perfect finishing touch. Where did this pig come from? My sister couldn't hold back any longer and cried even louder. This was no small matter. The pig's grunts turned into the squeals of a slaughtered pig. Even Lu Gu pushed her away with a look of disgust. "Mingju, what's wrong with you?" Su Mingju grunted and shook her head. Grunt, I don't know what's wrong with me either." Grunt, "Perhaps because I laughed too unrestrainedly." Lu Gu finally noticed me, his girlfriend. He let go of Su Mingju and looked at me with a concerned expression. I quickly pressed the plot prompt. Lu Gu looked at Su Mingwei with a face full of remorse. "I'm sorry, Mingwei." I saw Mingju was too upset, so I comforted her a bit. A changed face full of remorse to face slapped with remorse. Lu Gu immediately looked at me, slapping himself frantically while delivering the line, "I'm sorry, Mingwei." I was so upset seeing Mingju that I just comforted her a bit. In just a few dozen seconds, he had already slapped himself dozens of times. My cat saw a crazy person and, frightened, jumped up and slapped him twice in a frenzy. Su Mingju was shocked and let out another loud, pig-like wail. "I know these are just appetizers, my beauty and youth. I'm going to take them all back." Next, Lu Gu slapped himself so hard that he quickly knocked himself out. As for my mom, hearing my sister's pig-like squeals and finding her embarrassing, she dragged her back into the house. Looking at Lu Gu lying unconscious on the ground, I thought of all the ways he betrayed me in the novel and went up to give him a couple more kicks. Actually, Lu Gu is quite good-looking just based on his appearance. He is gentle, elegant, handsome, and wealthy. In my previous life, when we were still dating, my mother and sister repeatedly made sarcastic remarks about me, saying that Lu Gu was like a beautiful flower stuck in a pile of cow dung. Of course, in their words, the beautiful flower was Lu Gu, and I was the cow dung. Lu Gu initially kept his distance from my sister, but gradually, he was drawn to Su Mingju's innocence, liveliness, and cheerful personality. They dated behind my back and kissed in secret. In the end, they even attended Peking University together, becoming a perfect match of talent and beauty. Meanwhile, I continued to decay until my death. My mother and Su Mingju's voices could be heard from the room. Although they spoke in hushed tones, I still managed to catch their words. "Magic lamp, didn't I ask you to swap the grades? What's going on? You're just a useless magic lamp, incapable of doing anything." My mother chimed in, "Yes. And now that little wretch scored over 700 points and became the top scorer in the college entrance exam. She must be over the moon." "Yes, quickly change it back for me." At that moment, the magic lamp spoke up. "Master, you have already made 3 wishes. The contract between us has been terminated. Farewell, Master." I leaned closer to the door to look and saw a puff of white smoke disappear into the magic lamp. Su Mingju screamed in disbelief. How could this be? Have I already made 3 wishes? Come out right now. She kept rubbing the magic lamp with her hands, but it still showed no reaction at all. In the end, she simply threw the lamp fiercely onto the ground and lashed out at my mother. It's all your fault. I wasted one of my wishes on you. Otherwise, I would have been the top scorer in the college entrance exam. My mother was also furious, but she had a sudden idea. She bent down and picked up the magic lamp that Su Mingzhu had thrown on the ground. I realized the seriousness of the situation and immediately pressed the plot prompt. Gao Ting picked up the Aladdin's lamp from the ground and rubbed it. A miracle occurred. A tall figure stood before Gao Ting and respectfully said, "My dear master, what are your commands?" I moved my hand and changed the lamp to a pig. Gao Ting is my mother. A moment later, a large, plump pig stood upright before the mother and daughter. Su Mingzhu was so frightened that her voice changed. "Mom, wasn't it Aladdin's magic lamp? How did it turn into Aladdin's magic pig?" My mother trembled. I don't know, whether it's a pig or a person, as long as it can grant wishes, that's all that matters." The magic pig asked again, "My dear master, what is your command?" Su Mingzhu couldn't wait to speak up. "Quickly swap back that bitch Su Mingwei's scores. I'm the one who should be the top scorer in the college entrance exam." My heart skipped a beat, and then I heard my mom say, "How foolish can you be? What do you need the top scorer title for? You're not a good student, so even if you get into Peking University, it won't do much good. The reason we scraped together every penny to send you to a good school was so you could attend Peking University, get a prestigious degree, break out of the poor class, and marry a rich man. Mom can just ask Aladdin's genie, pig, to grant you boundless charm, and then all the rich men will be flocking around you. Won't you be living the high life then? Magic pig, please grant my wish." Hearing this, I pressed the plot prompt again. The magic lamp, upon hearing Gao Ting's wish, respectfully said, "Master, since that is the case, I shall fulfill your wish and bestow upon Su Mingzhu boundless fox charm." I changed fox charm to fox odor, and so, Aladdin's magic pig recited the lines in a rough and resonant voice. "Master, since that is the case, I shall fulfill your wish and bestow upon Su Mingzhu the boundless art of body odor." After the magic lamp finished speaking, the mother and daughter first wore expressions of smug satisfaction, but soon they couldn't hold it in any longer. "What did you say? The art of body odor?" As soon as the words were spoken, an indescribable stench hit me. I could smell it even through the door. My mother started retching and cursing at the same time. "What kind of magic lamp is this? Is it a scam? I told you to grant my daughter the charm that makes all men like her." "Okay, master, the second wish is to grant Su Mingzhu the charm that makes all men like her." My mother almost fainted when she heard this. Half of it was probably from anger, and the other half from the stench. Su Mingzhu couldn't smell her own body odor at all. Seeing my mother's indescribable expression, she looked terrified and asked, "Mom, what's wrong with you? Mom, why are you standing so far away?" Until the end, my mother couldn't hold back anymore and sprinted toward the door. Meanwhile, I calmly walked back to the living room, taking the opportunity to grab some tissue to stuff up my nose, avoiding the foul smell. Seeing the mother and daughter emerge from the room with a large, fat pig, I feigned surprise and asked, "Mom, what's going on with you two? What, are you not letting my sister roast sweet potatoes anymore and switching to raising pigs instead?" Su Mingwei burst into tears, pointing at me and shouting, "Mom, she insulted me. Mom, make her turn into a fat pig right now." Woo-woo, this is simple. If my mom really wished to turn me into a pig, I could just change my name to Su Mingzhu. However, my mom directly refused. "No, the wish has already been used twice, and only one chance remains." It suddenly dawned on me that my mother was reluctant to use it. At that moment, Lu Gu, who had been unconscious, began to slowly wake up. "What happened to me?" Seeing Lu Gu, Su Mingzhu immediately rushed up to him again. "I'm really curious about what will happen." And soon I see Lu Gu looking at Su Mingzhu with an even more different expression. At this moment, he gazes at Su Mingzhu almost obsessively, his eyes hazy. "Mingzhu, you look so special today, as if a fairy has descended to the mortal world." After saying that, he doesn't forget to take a deep breath of Su Mingzhu's hair. This scene directly shocked Su Mingzhu. My mom even asked, "Lu Gu, don't you think that smell is a bit overwhelming?" She already had 2 wads of paper stuffed up her nose. Lu Gu continued sniffing while retching. "No, this is exactly the smell I like, Mingzhu. I've only just realized that the person I like isn't your sister, it's you, Mingzhu. You and I are a perfect match. We'll go to Peking University together and strive for a better future." Ugh, because Su Mingzhu has now fulfilled the wish of being liked by all men, it has catalyzed Lu Ji's feelings for her. This further advances the plot in the book. Seeing the scumbag and the shameless woman, I can't help but wish these two would just lock themselves together right where they stand. Hearing about going to Peking University together, Su Mingzhu glared at me with even more resentment. Then she became smug. Sister, even if you get into Peking University, so what? You just heard it. Lu Gu likes me, but you're old and ugly, so it's only a matter of time before men abandon you. Then she asked Lu Gu again, but I can't get into Peking University anymore. Will you still like me? I will. Whether you go to Peking University or roast sweet potatoes, I like you. When he said this, Lu Ji's face was pale from the smoke. Su Mingzhu continued to show off. Then I want you to prove it to me. Break up with my sister right now. I quickly pressed the plot prompt. Once again, a passage of text appears before me. Lu Gu walked up to Su Mingwei and said loudly, Mingwei, let's break up. The person I like is Mingzhu. I have never liked you, never liked me. All those times you said you liked me before. Were you just talking nonsense? I changed walk to crawl. Lu Gu, who had just stood up quickly, suddenly lay on the ground and began to twist and crawl. Only after crawling to my feet did he deliver the line, Mingwei, let's break up. The person I like is Mingzhu. I never liked you. I couldn't help but burst into laughter. Since you crawled over to beg me, I'll agree. Now get lost. Su Mingzhu's body odor is too strong. I plan to move out. Fortunately, after Lu Gu expressed his loyalty, he immediately wanted to take Su Mingzhu away from here. Mingzhu, I like you. I want to take you away from here. I'll take you to meet my parents. They will definitely like you. My mom couldn't hold back any longer at this point. Even though it was her most beloved daughter, she waved her hand to shoo her away, saying, Go, hurry up and go. As soon as Su Mingzhu left, my mom immediately opened all the windows in the house to air it out. As for the Aladdin magic pig, due to its enormous size, it almost completely filled Su Mingzhu's room. So my mom had no choice but to let it stay there temporarily, but she had underestimated the magic pig after all. It could eat and sleep, and its snoring was earth-shatteringly loud. My mother dotes on Su Mingzhu, so her room is the closest, while I can only live in a small room opposite theirs, with a total area of about 7 or 8 square meters. It is precisely because of this that I have turned misfortune into fortune, even though we are only separated by the living room. My sleep has not been affected, perhaps because I am away from the male and female leads. The hardships I, as a cannon fodder supporting character, have faced have decreased significantly compared to before. I also learned that Su Mingzhu has moved directly into Lu Ji's private villa, because Lu Gu is this year's top science student and also comes from a wealthy family. He and Su Mingzhu both trended on social media. In the photo, Su Mingzhu, with her beautiful face, gazes affectionately at Lu Gu, their fingers intertwined and eyes locked. Many netizens commented below, it's actually young Master Lu. I heard he's always had a top student girlfriend. Could it be her? Good at studying and good looking too. Is this God's special favor? The person upstairs is wrong. She's not a top student at all. She's a total academic underachiever. Someone has already dug up that her college entrance exam score was 232. Even getting into a junior college would be hard. So God gave her beauty but forgot to give her brains. The initial comments were still somewhat normal, but the comments that followed were a bit hard on the eyes. Countless male netizens, upon seeing Su Mingzhu's photos, immediately started confessing their feelings. In fact, because of these confessions, some boyfriends' girlfriends directly started fighting with them in the comments, leading to breakups. I turned off my screen, no longer wanting to look at the mindless disputes on Weibo. Then I prepared to continue working. This is a French restaurant. After the results came out, I applied for and got the job of playing the piano here. I play for 4 hours every day, regardless of whether anyone appreciates it. I leave on time and don't need to interact with others. Who would have thought that as soon as I placed my hands on the keys, a figure appeared in front of me, speaking arrogantly, Waiter, come pour me some wine. I looked up at the girl in front of me. She was wearing a high-end red bodycon dress, appearing to be around my age, yet her delicate face was heavily made up. At that moment, her face was filled with arrogance. I recognized her, or perhaps I knew her in my previous life. She is Zhu Xinjin, the childhood sweetheart of the male lead Lu Gu, a true wealthy young lady with a good family background and good looks. In my previous life, because I was in a relationship with Lu Gu, she once splashed a glass of red wine on me. Later, I was completely defeated, and it became a competition between her and Su Mingzhu, all for the sake of winning over Lu Gu. Of course, the outcome was equally miserable. Seeing that I didn't respond, Zhu Xinjin grew even angrier, widening her eyes as she demanded, I'm talking to you. Are you deaf? I knew this young lady had a fiery temper, so I quickly followed the plot prompt. Su Mingwei ignored Zhu Xinjin, and in her fury, Zhu Xinjin took off her high heels and hurled them directly at Su Mingwei. I really have to thank my mom for giving me and Su Mingzhu names that differ by only one character. I moved my hand again and changed the way at the end to Zhu. As for whether Su Mingzhu is actually here or how this high heel should be thrown at her, It's no longer any of my business. The next second, I actually saw Su Mingzhu, hand in hand with Lu Gu, appearing at the entrance of the restaurant. As for the high heels that Zhu Jinjin had taken off, they were now thrown at Su Mingzhu. Su Mingzhu was hit by a high heel, her eyes rolled back, and she fainted on the spot. Zhu Jinjin was completely stunned, but upon seeing that the person she had hit was Su Mingzhu, she gritted her teeth and uttered 2 words, "Serves you right." Lu Gu had not anticipated such a scene at all and was also taken aback. I pressed the plot hint button and saw a line of text appear before my eyes. Lu Gu saw the woman he loved lying on the ground and rushed toward her immediately. While holding Su Mingzhu, he shouted, "Call an ambulance! Call an ambulance quickly!" I changed the hold in the following texted kick and continued sitting at the piano, playing and watching the show. Sure enough, Lu Gu, who had rushed toward Su Mingzhu, suddenly started kicking her frantically, shouting as he kicked, "Call an ambulance! Call an ambulance quickly!" Everyone was terrified by this scene, including Zhu Jinjin beside me. Even when the ambulance arrived, Lu Gu was still violently kicking Su Mingzhu. With no other choice, the paramedics had to forcibly restrain Lu Gu and take him away along with Su Mingzhu. As the sound of the ambulance faded into the distance, Zhu Jinjin seemed to snap out of a deep trance and murmured, "Oh my God. The person I like is a domestic abuser." After Lu Gu and Su Mingzhu left, Zhu Jinjin seemed to regain her senses and stopped giving me a hard time. I knew that all her tragedies were influenced by the male and female leads. Considering her inherently good nature, I actually wanted to awaken her. Coincidentally, I had just finished playing today's piece, so I invited her to have a glass of juice together. I don't know if it's because she's the predetermined villainess in the book, but as soon as she started speaking, her words were full of sarcasm. "Look at you, what good is being the top scorer in the college entrance exam? Didn't your sister still steal your boyfriend? My dad is right, women have to rely on men. Since elementary school, I've studied ballet, piano, painting, illustration, tea ceremony, read poetry and books, learned etiquette. And I didn't even dare fall behind in my academic classes, also that after graduating from college, I could become the woman behind a successful man. A successful man must have a wife as outstanding as me, so whether it's you or your sister, no one should even think about competing with me. On the contrary, Miss Sue, what does it matter if you get into Peking University? In the end, you'll still have to get married, take care of your husband, and raise children. Instead of that, why not find a good man sooner?" I couldn't help but smile. It seems Miss Sue has been deeply influenced, to the point where she doesn't resemble a woman of modern society, but rather a product shaped by feudal times. Seeing me smile, her pretty brows furrowed tightly. "What are you laughing at? Do you believe that with just a snap of my fingers, I could make you lose this job?" "I believe you." I then asked her in return, "Miss Ju, you were born into a wealthy family, intelligent and a good student. Just as you said, you can do ballet, play the piano, paint, and practice tea ceremony. And you're also good looking. Why would you listen to your father's arrangements and become an accessory? As for what you said about getting married and managing the household, is there any law that says women must get married and take care of their husbands and children? Even if I do get married someday, I will absolutely never be the kind of wife who devotes herself entirely to her husband and children. Men have their careers, and I have my own world. If I were truly asked to give up everything for a man, I wouldn't be willing, would you? You're not short on money, you're good looking, and you have great taste. Even without being attached to a man, you can still live a very good life." Zhu Jinjin was stunned and repeated, "Still live a very good life," but she quickly changed her tone. "No, I love Lu Gu, and Lu Gu can only be mine. The reason my father sent me to learn all these things is because I love Lu Gu, and I want to become his wife. Whether it's you or Su Mingzhu, no one can take him away." Just as I was curious about Zhu Jinjin's unusual behavior, I saw Lu Gu striding over, questioning her. "Jinjin, I never thought you could be such a malicious woman. I found the key to the problem, perhaps because I'm just a cannon fodder character, coupled with the double buff of rebirth and a cheat ability. I'm almost never passively affected by the male and female leads. But Zhu Jinjin is different. She is an important character, more controlled by the plot, and thus more influenced by the male and female leads. At this moment, she is already apologizing. "I'm sorry, Xiaogu. I don't know what happened either. Xiaogu, don't blame me. It's just because I love you too much." Lu Gu remained completely unmoved and continued to drag her along. "Then go apologize to her right now." Seeing the scumbag's actions becoming more and more outrageous, I pressed the plot prompt button again. After saying those words, Lu Gu completely ignored Zhu Jinjin and strode toward the Rolls-Royce parked at the entrance. I changed walk to crawl. There's no other way. A scumbag like him only deserves that word. Then everyone saw that Lu Gu, who had originally walked away without looking back, suddenly prostrated himself on the ground after turning around, crawling and writhing like a maggot. It wasn't until he crawled onto the Rolls-Royce that he stopped his bizarre movements. Zhu Xinjun was momentarily stunned by what she had just witnessed. I noticed a flicker of surprise in her eyes, but it was quickly replaced by clarity and naivety. She mechanically stepped into the Rolls-Royce and left with Lu Gu, feeling a pang of sympathy for Zhu Xinjun. I followed them to the hospital, want to know what will happen to the villainous Zhu Xinjun who is being controlled, who knew that upon arriving at the hospital, they would see Su Mingzhu surrounded by several men. Each of them was dressed in high-end tailored suits, looking quite dapper. Some took out diamond rings the size of pigeon eggs. Some held roses. And others directly revealed their wealth. I am the president of the Fu Group. As long as you marry me, you will be the president's wife. Whatever you want, as long as I can make it happen, I will fulfill it all for you. I am the sole heir of the Lu Group. Our company is worth hundreds of billions. As long as you marry me, everything I have is yours. I understand now. It is precisely Su Mingzhu's charm that attracts all kinds of presidents, but without exception. All these so-called presidents, one by one, are deeply affectionate, yet each of them gags while confessing their feelings. Some even collapse to the ground, convulsing, simply because the smell was unbearable, yet they still couldn't help but utter what they believed to be the most beautiful sweet nothings. Even a male patient in a wheelchair, hooked up to an oxygen tank, raised a bouquet of roses at that moment. Marry me, once I recover. I'll work to support the family. And you won't have to do anything, just stay at home and be as beautiful as a flower. This spectacular scene would make anyone who saw it want to exclaim wow under their breath. However, Su Mingzhu, who was surrounded by everyone in the center, wore a look of pride on her face. In the end, she accepted the diamond ring the size of a pigeon's egg and smiled faintly, saying, I do, unexpectedly. As soon as these three words were spoken, the scene instantly fell into chaos. The CEO who had successfully proposed didn't know who punched him in the face. Seeing someone take action, the others swarmed forward. Even Lu Gu, who had just arrived, joined the melee. Watching the scene unfold before me, I decided to be a good person to the end and took out my phone to call the police. Hello, 911, I want to report a case. Yes, there's a fight here. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, a total of 13 people. You'll be here within 5 minutes. Okay, I'll protect myself. Thank you. The police officer was very reliable and indeed arrived here in less than 5 minutes. They quickly managed to subdue the dozen or so people who were fighting. It wasn't until those executives were escorted out of the ward one by one that I realized Su Mingzhu had also been accidentally caught up in the chaos. With a few scratches on her face, she sat on the hospital bed, crying bitterly. But the matter was far from over. The police had just left. And a swarm of male patients who had been watching the commotion at the door rushed in. Su Mingzhu screamed repeatedly at the sight, but fortunately, she managed to close the door in the end, narrowly escaping the danger. However, she was extremely frightened, crying as she pulled at her own hair. I don't want to be liked by all men anymore. I don't want it. Please let me go. I beg you to let me go. After saying that, she pushed me aside, grabbed the bedsheet to cover her head, and ignoring her injuries, rushed toward the door, yet the men she encountered along the way still refused to let her go. Catching a whiff of her body odor, they began to track her like dogs. Even though the stench made them nauseous, it couldn't stop them from pursuing her. I took a taxi home. It was only after I got back that Su Mingzhu finally returned. A full hour late, she came in looking disheveled and crying her eyes out. My mom was shocked to see her like that and went up to ask, Mingzhu, what happened to you? Holding her nose as she asked, Su Mingzhu cried even harder. Mom, I was almost assaulted by the driver just now. Whoa. After saying that, she angrily threw away the bedsheet in her hand and began to curse. It's all your fault, summoning that damn Aladdin's magic pig, making me like this. Tell me, did you do it on purpose, jealous that I'm younger and more beautiful than you? Why isn't this happening to you? Why? I don't want to be liked by all men anymore. Hurry up and make Aladdin's magic pig restore me to my original state. Hurry. Su Mingzhu glared at my mother, looking as if she wanted to devour her. In a moment of desperation, my mother slapped her across the face. Su Mingzhu, have you lost your mind? Clearly, all of this was what you wanted. Ugh. Watching the mother and daughter tussle, I silently closed the door and walked out. The room was filled with a foul stench, and I needed to breathe some fresh air. Who would have thought that as soon as I went downstairs, I saw Lu Gu standing there. At that moment, his face was bruised and swollen, filled with regret. Seeing me come downstairs, he shamelessly fell to his knees with a thud. Mingwei, I was wrong. Only now do I realize that the one who loved me the most was you. Do you know what happened to Mingzhu? She actually chose another man for money. A woman like that doesn't deserve to be my girlfriend at all. Look, this is what men are like, talking about regret, talking about seeing the truth clearly. It's just that no one wants them anymore. I looked down at him and asked, how do I know if you're for real? Why don't you prove it to me? After saying this, I realized something was off and quickly pressed the plot prompt. Soon, another passage appeared again. Lugu looked at Su Mingwei, then stepped forward and fiercely kissed Su Mingwei's lips. I really feel like vomiting, so. Is a male's apology and repentance expressed through forced kissing? I quickly changed lips to shoes to avoid a nauseating scene. Sure enough, the next second, Lugu stepped forward, crouched down, and kissed my shoes while lying on the ground. Looking at Lugu in this state, I still couldn't help but feel disgusted. All right, these are dirty now. I don't want them anymore. I took off the shoes he had kissed so affectionately, determined to stay away from this scumbag and that mother-daughter pair. However, in just the time it took to buy a pair of shoes and have a meal, I saw Lugu again. He stood in front of Zhu Jinjin, confessing his feelings with deep affection. Jinjin, I'm sorry. I didn't see your sincerity clearly. Whether it's Su Mingzhu or Su Mingwei, neither is what I want. What I want is a gentle, virtuous girl like you, who can match me. But this time, Zhu Jinjin's eyes were no longer as clear and naive as before. Instead, they were filled with mockery. Matching with you? Is it matching you crawling like a filthy maggot, or disregarding your image and kissing a girl's sneakers in public? I felt a bit awkward. Licking sneakers in public. Weren't the ones I was kissed on earlier also sneakers? Not far away, Zhu Jinjin was still retorting, Mr. Lugu, could it be that you're a pervert? Tell me, how can someone like you, who's not even human, possibly match with me? I told my dad my thoughts. He has no sons, and I am both talented and capable. Rather than handing the company over to an outsider in the future, it would be better to properly nurture me. He agreed. If I remember correctly, you also have an older brother. Whether the Lu family's business will be passed on to you in the future is still uncertain. Upon hearing this, Lugu froze on the spot. Zhu Jinjin, however, gracefully walked up to me and extended her hand. Hello, top scorer in the college entrance exam. I'm the second place scorer this year. My dad gave me a hotel to manage. May I invite you to work part-time during your studies and help me run the hotel together? An invitation from a wealthy and beautiful girl. Of course, I wouldn't refuse. I smiled and gently took her hand. I'd love to. The short summer vacation became enjoyable without the interference of Lugu and Su Mingwei. The day before school started, I went home to pack my luggage and prepare to head to Peking University. Watching the mother and daughter pair, who were as noisy and quarrelsome as ever, I intended to settle things quickly. Little did I expect that the two would once again end up in a tussle. Su Mingzhu even viciously cursed my mother. It's all your fault. Why don't you just die? If you were dead, none of this would have happened. You say my sister is so great, then go live with her. By the way, Gao Ting, if she knew she wasn't my twin sister, but a stray child you picked up on the day I was born, and that you raised her just to be my playmate, do you think she would still acknowledge you as her mother? My mother slapped Su Mingzhu hard. Then she stood there awkwardly, explaining to me, Mingwei, it's not like that. Don't listen to your sister's nonsense. I finally understood why. Even though we are biological sisters, my mother treats me and Su Mingzhu so differently. At the same time, I realized why, despite being twins, we have such vastly different appearances, and why she didn't hesitate for a moment to trade my 20 years of youth with the magic lamp. All of this stems from the fact that I am not her biological daughter. Seeing that I remained silent, my mother continued to apologize. Mingwei, it's my fault, but no matter how many mistakes I've made, I'm still the one who worked hard to raise you. If it weren't for me, you would have starved or frozen to death long ago. I gave you a home and even supported you in attending the best schools. Mingwei, I'm sorry. I'll make everything go back to the way it was right now. Su Mingzhu was laughing hysterically beside me, almost to the point of madness. After my mother finished speaking, she opened the door and prayed devoutly to Aladdin's magic pig. Magic pig! I beg you to restore everything to how it was before we made our wishes. A flash of white light appeared, and the body odor on Su Mingzhu disappeared, returning her to her ordinary appearance. My mother also reverted to her original self. When I looked in the mirror, I saw my own restored face as well. The day I stepped into Peking University, I unintentionally picked up Aladdin's lamp. Seeing this lamp, I hesitated for a moment before giving it a rub. Soon, the genie floated out and asked me, Dear Master, what wish do you desire? I looked at the domineering CEO not far away, who was reciting the line Woman, you're playing with fire to a girl in a white dress, and made my wish. First, I hope all the girls in this book can break free from the plot's constraints and live their own lives. Second, eliminate all the brainless domineering CEOs. Third, release you from the constraints of the magic lamp. And you can also be yourself again. The magic lamp smiled, and this time, Instead of turning into a wisp of white smoke and disappearing into the lamp, he transformed into a handsome young man. Su Mingwei, for the rest of my life, please let me be your guardian. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. My stepsister is bound to the snake eats points system. Whatever score I get on the college entrance exam, she gets that amount in 10,000 yuan. Under the emotional blackmail of my entire family, I have been forced to retake the exam again and again. Everyone laughed at me for being a penniless loser for years, while she, with her guaranteed $1 million lottery win every year, became the internet's wildly worshipped goddess of luck. When the authorities came to investigate, my sister, to cover her tracks, pushed me down the stairs and killed me. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the first day my sister asked me to help her play the snake minigame. This time, I slapped her right back without hesitation. Stop playing around. Don't disturb my studying. Sis, just help me play for a bit. You're so smart. You're definitely better than me. The familiar voice of my stepsister, Jenny Murphy, rang in my ears. I was stunned, never expecting to actually be reborn. My bedroom, my desk. Jenny Murphy was holding her phone, about to ask me to help her play a round of Snake. She is my stepsister. After my mother passed away when I was 5, my father married Wang Jia, who was divorced and had a child. Back then, I was young and easily believed my father's lie about not wanting me to be lonely. It wasn't until Jenny Murphy, who had changed her surname, pushed me down the stairs that I realized she was actually my father's illegitimate daughter. Before my mother's remains had even grown cold, the other woman had already moved in. In my previous life, I was kept in the dark and treated her as my own sister. She gets to pick the prettiest clothes first and take the tastiest food first, yet she secretly bound a snake score eating system, using my college entrance exam scores to win a huge prize. When I scored 0 on my first college entrance exam, I was shocked and wanted to report it to the authorities. After all, I was the top student in the school, and even if I randomly filled in the multiple choice questions, I couldn't possibly get a 0, but Jenny Murphy stopped me and revealed the whole truth. When my parents found out that my college entrance exam scores had become her 1 million yuan lottery win, they were overjoyed. One of them operates an excavator at a construction site, while the other does odd jobs for others. On the very first day of claiming the prize, they quit their current jobs and began living the wealthy life they had once envied and resented. They bought a house for the family and new clothes for me. My parents held my hands and praised me as the hero. Having always been obedient, I wanted to remind them that this was wrong, but in the end, I could only sigh and return to studying for the college entrance exam again. What else could I do? My father is my biological father, and although my stepmother hasn't treated me particularly well over the years, she hasn't been harsh either. My sister even apologized with a guilty look. I had no choice but to accept it, study hard, and strive for better results next year. But the next year, it was still 0. This time I panicked, and not just me. My homeroom teacher and classmates also realized something was wrong. After all, I always ranked first in the monthly exams. So how could I end up with 0 in the college entrance exam? Some secretly mocked me for cheating on regular exams, some ridiculed my poor exam-taking mindset, and others helped me report it to the police. But the surveillance footage that was eventually retrieved showed me in a daze during the college entrance exam, mistakenly filling in the wrong exam number due to excessive nervousness. My parents breathed a sigh of relief, wiping away tears in front of everyone, saying it was a pity. But behind the scenes, they emotionally blackmailed me, begging me not to speak out. I grew numb, the truth was stuck in my throat, but bound by 19 years of family ties, I had to reluctantly admit that I had done the same thing last year. Everyone sighed in sympathy. My homeroom teacher patted my shoulder, encouraging me to retake the exam, but I decided to go out and work instead. There's no such thing as a free lunch. After 13 years of diligent study, I know that money from dubious sources will eventually bring consequences if I rely on it, but my parents, having tasted the sweetness, would never let me off the hook again. I refused to retake the exams, so my father beat me, dragged me to my mother's grave, and cried about my unfilial behavior, saying that now that I had the ability to earn money, I wanted to be an ungrateful wolf without giving anything in return. My stepmother was wiping tears beside me, begging my father not to force me. And when my father hit me, she desperately shielded me. Finally, my sister made the final decision, saying that she would give me half of the money she earned every year in the future. After all, I would have to find a job after graduating from college, and money that comes easily is certainly better than working hard. Under their persistent persuasion, I gradually gave in. My grades plummeted, dropping from the top of the class to a tail ender with only 300 or 400 points. My parents were delighted, thinking that although I didn't score high, it perfectly fit the persona of someone who gets 0 points due to exam stress. He earnestly advised me, haste makes waste, keep a low profile, and we can play the long game to catch the big fish. That calculating look in his eyes gleamed with shrewd brilliance. I repeated my studies for 6 years, while my sister won over 30 million yuan. She became the internet's wildly worshipped goddess of luck. Living in a mansion and driving luxury cars, with suitors lining up from Beijing to Hainan, I, on the other hand, became the laughingstock of everyone, a perennial zero. Even though I ate 5 meals a day thanks to the nanny's nutritious cooking, all I ended up with was an excessively plump body and nothing else. Finally, one day, the National Security Agency discovered the situation and came knocking. My parents were terrified, and my sister was frantic. When I went to the bathroom in the middle of the night, I overheard them secretly discussing the matter. They were planning to pin everything on me and make me the scapegoat. Furious, I pushed the door open to confront them, but my sister, after pleading in vain, pushed me down 3 flights of stairs. Don't blame me, sister, blame your own greed. You repeated your studies so many times and got caught with evidence. But it was you who begged me to repeat the year, filled with resentment. I was reborn, when she once again pretended to casually ask me to help her play Snake. My blood boiled, and I slapped her hard across the face. Play your mother's game, don't bother me studying. The Jenna who used to swallow her anger is dead. This time, I'm going to go crazy. I hit my sister, and the whole family was shocked. After all, I've loved my sister since childhood and always gave in to her. My parents rushed over at my shout, but I preemptively flared up, snatched my sister's phone, and smashed it. There's only 1 month left until the college entrance exam. Do you have any idea how much pressure I'm under? Now you're asking me to play games. What if I get addicted? I never expected you to be this kind of person. You're deliberately trying to sabotage my exam. With that, I turned around, my shoulders shaking, perfectly portraying a student under severe pre-exam stress. After all, in my previous life, I had acted this out many times over 6 years. It was right up my alley. My sister was stunned, not even reacting to her phone lying shattered on the floor. Dad furrowed his brow and immediately scolded my sister for being inconsiderate and disrupting my studies. Just like before my first college entrance exam, I was the pride in my father's eyes back then, although he was cynical. He genuinely took joy in having a well-behaved daughter who ranked first in her grade, bringing him face. My stepsister, on the other hand, was different. She was a year younger than me and had average grades at school. Seeing my father scold her, my sister bit her lip as if wanting to say something, but my stepmother quickly pulled her aside to smooth things over, apologizing to me while giving her a meaningful look. I secretly observed, guessing that my stepmother might know something. Sure enough, by evening, faint conversation could be heard from the next room. 007, are you still there? Yes. Host, my sister suddenly threw a big tantrum tonight. Did you do something? No, that's strange. I'll buy a new phone tomorrow and find a chance to ask her, as long as she agrees to me once. It's a lifelong binding, right? Yes, all right, I'll keep going. Just as I imagined, the system's voice was that kind of emotionless mechanical tone. I'm not sure if it's because of the rebirth, but I can now hear her conversations with the system. Seeing her finish talking with the system and go discuss with her mother, I sneered inwardly. So, all I need to do is agree once, and it's a lifelong binding. This time, you won't have any chance. Keep begging me. I have returned from the river of forgetfulness, a malevolent spirit dragging you down to hell. In the following days, I took mood swings to the extreme. One moment, I would order my sister to run errands for me, and the next, I would cry, saying I dreamed of performing poorly in the college entrance exam. One moment I was praising my stepmother's calming soup for being delicious, the next I was vomiting and having diarrhea in the bathroom, cursing her for trying to harm me. My dad lost his temper. He was never a patient man to begin with, hearing me repeatedly complain that I might not be able to achieve the top score in the province. He almost lashed out at my stepmother. My little sister was terrified. She clung to my dad's arm, begging him to stop, but he slapped her across the face instead. In my past life, the only person my father ever hit was me, while my sister hid aside, playing the good cop with her mother, saying nice things. This time, I was the one playing the good cop. I cried and begged my father not to be angry on my behalf, saying it was my own poor ability to resist distractions. My father frowned deeply. I seized the opportunity to add fuel to the fire. It's actually okay if I don't get the top score in the province. At worst, I'll just give up on that 30,000 yuan bonus. Anyway, I'll do my best, so it doesn't matter. Upon hearing this, Dad immediately flew into a rage. He certainly couldn't give up the 30,000 yuan bonus for being the top scorer in the province, not even 3,000, let alone 30,000. In front of Wang Jia and her mother, my father flew into a rage. ordering them not to come near me again. He even called my uncle, hoping to send me to stay with him for a while. My uncle's family was well off, and like my father, he valued my good grades. For me, leaving in this way was a form of protection. After a moment of hesitation, I agreed. Reborn once, I cannot abandon a great life just because of a grudge. My stepmother and stepsister are ambitious and capable of anything. Simple revenge is too low level. What I want is to stand at a height they can only look up to, but I also know it's impossible to break free so easily. Sure enough, the day after my uncle agreed, my father went back on his word. He looked at me with a very surprised expression, and had my stepmother personally prepare a large table of dishes to settle the conflict. We're all family, after all. Once things are cleared up, it's fine. Don't worry about the college entrance exam. There's still over a month left. You shouldn't be too nervous either. Balance work and rest. Between the lines, the phrase balance work and rest is repeated over and over again. What balance of work and rest? Isn't it just that I already know my sister wants to tie me down to win the big prize and wants to give it a push? With a stepmother comes a stepfather. I've long known this day would come, after all. A high score of over 700 in the college entrance exam is nothing. But the 7 million yuan prize in hand can change his life. I pretended not to know and got along happily with my stepmother and stepsister, but under the excuse of taking a walk after dinner, I rushed out of the house in one breath and headed straight to my uncle's house. I couldn't stay at home anymore. They would definitely force me to sign the contract with my sister again. A father with a tendency toward domestic violence wouldn't show me any mercy to protect myself. I had no choice but to run away. My uncle's family had 2 sons. The second cousin was studying at a university in another city, while the eldest cousin worked locally. When I told my uncle with red eyes that I was under a lot of pressure before the exam, he took me in without hesitation. When my father came to take me home, my uncle scolded him with a stern face, not to be harsh, John, but in our Chung family, Jenna is the only one who's good at studying, instead of supporting her. You're encouraging her to play video games. It's just too much. Do you realize the college entrance exam is only a month away? The pressure on her is huge. What if she messes it up? Even if she needs a balance between work and rest, you can't let her play on her phone. That stuff is addictive. It's really not a good idea. Dad was at a loss for words. He had always been intimidated by his successful older brother. Seeing that I absolutely refused to go back with him, he gritted his teeth and finally spilled the beans about the system. As soon as these words were spoken, the whole family of the uncle burst into laughter. John, you must be crazy about making money. What do you mean by exchanging your college entrance exam results for a lottery win? Can you be any more ridiculous? All right, your sister-in-law and I know your family's situation. I'll help take care of the child this month. If you get into Tsinghua University, I'll pay for your tuition. Why can't you see things clearly? It's this day and age, and you still believe in all that supernatural nonsense. Dad's face flushed red. As the younger brother, he had grown up spoiled by grandma, and now his pride was being trampled by uncle. He was furious, his dark, intense gaze fixed on me. Are you coming back with me or not? I shrank back. Dad, uncle impatiently stepped in front of me. Enough, you're really regressing. Just go, don't scare the child. With my uncle's strong protection, I was safe for a few days, but I also knew my father would never let me off easily. In the following days, I stuck to a strict routine. During the day, I practiced exam questions at school, and at night, I did test papers at my uncle's house. In my past life, I was forced to repeat the college entrance exam for 6 years. I had long regarded the Gaokao as a deep-seated grudge in my life. Although I gave up on myself and performed poorly for several years in between, the knowledge points remained unforgettable. I was full of confidence for the college entrance exam a month later. I even had the mood to tutor my deskmate, helping him identify and fill in the gaps. In my previous life, my deskmate fell 3 points short of his dream university. Seeing me so enthusiastic this time, Xie Qiao looked utterly bewildered. Have you changed your nature? Why are you suddenly so nice? His doubt was entirely justified. In my previous life, to ensure I performed well in exams, my parents repeatedly warned me against making friends at school, especially in the last 2 months. I hardly spoke a word to my classmates. Students in the top class were under immense pressure, having been completely focused on my studies just days before. My sudden enthusiasm toward him naturally seemed odd. I didn't explain too much, just laughed it off and said I was feeling generous. Then turned to the next problem to teach him how to solve it. Having been drenched by the rain in my past life, this time around, I want to do everything I can to ensure that those around me have no regrets. The college entrance exam happens only once for everyone. I'm not a saint, but if it's within my power to help, there's no harm in doing so. Unexpectedly, this incident boosted my reputation. The homeroom teacher had high hopes for me in the previous life, and in this life. Seeing me being friendly with classmates, they even promoted me as a positive role model. Having taken the college entrance exam for 7 years, I have seen almost every type of question. Xiaoqiao looked at me as if I were a monster. How come after just a few days apart, your brain seems even smarter? He has a lively and unrestrained personality. Speaking without any filter, of course, I wouldn't tell him that I haven't interacted with normal people in a long time, even if it would take up my study time. I didn't want to be alone anymore. Rolling my eyes, I said, I've always been smart. Do you want to listen or not? If not, I'm going to do my test papers. He quickly begged for mercy, coaxing me to continue telling him the story. With only 20 days left until the college entrance exam, just as I thought things would quietly come to an end, my younger sister came to my class and told me that something had happened to Dad at the construction site. I was startled, although I resented them for treating me like a tool for exams in my past life. My father in this life hadn't done anything to me yet, so I couldn't just ignore him. After asking for leave from my homeroom teacher, I hurriedly followed my sister back home. I never expected to see my father fully intact and with a dark expression. As soon as I got home, with a click, my sister, who had followed me in, locked the door. My heart sank as I realized I had fallen into a trap. Without a word, my father slapped me across the face, shouting that I was unfilial. Terrified, I turned to run, but with my stepmother and sister as accomplices, my father quickly caught me, just like in my previous life. He went berserk and started throwing punches at my face. He hit me until my vision blurred and my nose bled. This time, my stepmother didn't even pretend to protect me. She just stood by, adding fuel to the fire by scolding me for being ungrateful. The louder she yelled, the harder my father hit me. In a daze, Dad grabbed my hair and asked if I wanted to play. I opened my eyes, and my sister's newly bought iPhone 14 was right in front of me. That familiar interface was exactly the little snake game she had once wanted me to play. I spat out a mouthful of bloody foam, the anger in my chest burning me to ashes, but my mind was clear, and I angrily tried to snap Dad out of it. This is just a small game. I've already said there's no such thing as a free lunch in this world. Playing it won't do any good. Dad sneered. What does it matter if it's useful or not? There's no harm in trying anyway. You think you're all grown up now, daring to disobey me. I understood what he meant, for him. Whether the college entrance exam scores could be exchanged for a huge sum of money was uncertain, but he couldn't bear the humiliation from my uncle. It made him so furious that he just wanted an excuse to teach me, his daughter who was siding with outsiders, a lesson. Just like in my previous life, he is just a beast who raises his fist against his own family. How fortunate I am to have a father who is rotten to the core. I firmly refused, no matter how he threatened or tempted me. I wouldn't listen. I know him all too well. Once I agree to this, I will never be free from the college entrance exam for the rest of my life. Greed is endless. He will only lose himself in the vast sums of money year after year. I won't give myself a chance to repeat the same mistake. With my last ounce of strength, I snatched the phone he had tossed aside and dialed the emergency contact, even though there was no time to say anything. I knew I would be saved when I woke up again. I was already in the hospital. The person who saved me was my desk mate Xiaoqiao. On the way home with my sister, I sent him a text message, asking him to get our homeroom teacher to come find me at my house no matter what. As soon as he received my call, he was someone who always kept his phone with him, and after he replied with an okay, I breathed a sigh of relief. This was my insurance plan, as I was worried something might go wrong when I got home. I never expected I would actually predict it right, ending up getting beaten for no reason. I took a look in the mirror, and the girl in the reflection had a crooked eye and a twisted mouth, with her right eye swollen like a panda's. The school already knew about the domestic violence I had suffered. Xiaoqiao angrily helped me report it to the police. During the statement taking, I truthfully told the police about the system. The two police officers looked at each other, finding it hard to believe that my parents could be so superstitious. The news spread like wildfire. When I returned to school 3 days later, I heard mocking discussions about my sister everywhere I went. It was she who claimed the existence of the system, which led my father to impulsively hit me. Everyone thought Jenny Murphy had hysteria, and in their words, they all advised her to go to the hospital to get her head checked. This life's Jenny Murphy is still young. Crying and begging me to agree to her self-verification, I look at her with a gaze that says, "Idiot, why must you come to me? Why not just bind it to yourself?" This has always puzzled me. She gives me the answer the next second. Only relatives can sign the contract. Please, sister, you're the only one in the family taking the college entrance exam. I laugh in frustration. So that's how it is, I scoffed. Then why don't you go find someone to marry? After all, relatives are relatives. And a husband is one too. I swear I just said it offhand, but my sister trembled slightly, her eyes lighting up. I thought to myself, this is bad. Sure enough, within a couple of days, my sister started pursuing Simon, the second-ranked student in our grade. She seemed to have gone mad, bringing him homemade breakfast every day to win him over, even though we all reminded her that the legal age for women to marry is 20. She turned a deaf ear. Even more unbelievable was that Simon actually agreed. He declared with righteous indignation, "It's just a game, not a real marriage. If there really were 7 million, I'd be rich. Even for my seriously ill grandmother, I'd have to do it." A seriously ill grandmother. Those who mocked him felt too embarrassed to say more upon hearing this reason, but I knew his grandmother wasn't seriously ill at all. It was just greed at work, wanting to get something for nothing, as classmates. I didn't expose him, but sincerely advised him not to get involved in this mess. He, in turn, accused me of lacking compassion, saying he wouldn't give me a single cent of the lottery prize money in the future. It's hilarious. He probably has no idea that if discovered by the relevant authorities, the outcome would be confiscation of the prize and dissection under the supervision of the Science Academy. Good advice is wasted on those destined to die. They insist on courting disaster. So I can only wait with a smile for their tears. Jenny Murphy married Simon, unable to obtain a marriage certificate. They held a wedding banquet in their hometown. After the system verification was approved, I successfully heard the words "binding successful." With a long sigh of relief, I focused on preparing for the exam. At least this time I changed the fate of being a tool, and from now on, I'll just take it one step at a time. In my previous life, I scored 0 on the exam, and no one knew the inside story. During my year of retaking the exam, countless people mocked and insulted me. This time, the matter of the system was exposed, and the targets of the whispers behind the scenes became Jenny Murphy and Simon. In the same class, we see each other all the time. The teacher on the podium sarcastically reminded us not to take shortcuts. The classmate below looked disdainful and drew a clear line with Simon. I wasn't idle either. I anonymously publicized the matter online and started a 10-day countdown, waiting for the news that Simon would score 0. My goal, of course, wasn't to gain popularity but to attract the attention of the relevant authorities. In my past life, I vaguely heard that the department called the 7th Security Bureau was a national agency specifically tasked with eliminating unnatural abilities. Systems like gluttonous snake were severely cracked down on by them. Unfortunately, after posting comments for several days, there was still no response from the relevant authorities. Many people mocked my family for being superstitious, and the online comments exceeded 10,000. The school is a prestigious high school, and such an embarrassing incident has greatly tarnished its reputation. However, since both sets of parents firmly believe in the system, the school could only force a bitter smile and secretly curse their bad luck amid the intense countdown. The college entrance examination arrived as scheduled. In my previous life, I took the exam 7 times. This time, I told myself to stay calm and keep a normal mindset. Just do your best, no matter how high or low the score. As long as it's not a 0, anything is fine. While waiting for the results, I stayed at my uncle's house for a long time. He ran a restaurant near the neighborhood, and I took the initiative to wash dishes there day after day. Finally, the day of the results release arrived. Don't be nervous, Jenna, stay calm. The college entrance exam doesn't determine your entire life. Has the score come out yet? What's with this slow internet on this old computer? Son, if you didn't have money for a new computer, you should have said so earlier. Mom, it's not the internet connection, it's just too many people checking their scores. At my uncle's restaurant, when the scores were released in the morning, the 3 of them, my uncle, aunt, and cousin, crowded around my cousin's laptop to take a look. This wasn't the peak dining hour, so there weren't many customers. Seeing the 3 of them chattering away at an empty table, the regulars who knew me couldn't help but chuckle. Anyone who doesn't know would think it's your brother taking the college entrance exam. Girl, how can you be so calm? I chuckled, wiping the table while smiling. Being anxious won't help anyway. As long as I don't score 0, everything's fine. The regular customers had probably heard about my family situation and laughed. Of course, 0 is impossible. I heard your grades are excellent. Maybe you'll even be the top scorer in the province. I don't really care about that. You're such a strange kid, acting as if this isn't your first time taking the college entrance exam. You guessed it. To be honest, I've taken it 8 times. Anyway, there are plenty of people who like to brag, so I casually said it as a joke. Not noticing the sharp glint that flashed in the other person's eyes, "It's out," Auntie yelled loudly, startling me. Though she claimed not to care, her body honestly took a swift step forward. My cousin trembled with excitement, reading each subject's score aloud. Chinese, 149, Math, 150, English 147, Comprehensive Arts 295, 741 points. Jenna, you scored 741. His loud voice nearly shook the entire street, not to mention the customers eating in the shop. Even the people next door slurping wontons came over with their bowls, looking on in astonishment. My heart sank. 741, that's more than my 701 from my first college entrance exam. Is this a case of no pain, no gain? The highest score ever in our city J was only 734, I broke the record. And the recruitment teams from Tsinghua and Peking universities rushed over without a moment's delay. Under the glare of cameras and microphones, journalists swarmed in for interviews. Someone brought up the widely discussed incident from half a month ago. In the era of big data, many had already learned that the trending internet celebrity Jenny Murphy was my sister. Did your sister really marry your classmate? How can someone under 20 get a marriage certificate? Do you know how that superstitious system came about? Excuse me, do you know Mr. Shin's phone number? Could you please call him? We're live streaming the whole thing. Countless questions made my head spin. And when Simon was mentioned, I readily agreed and picked up my phone. I also wanted to know if he had scored 0 on the exam. Theoretically, the contract signing was already successful last time. Since he stubbornly refused to listen to advice, I was more than happy to give him a push while the whole process was being live-streamed. Beep beep, on speakerphone. It rang for nearly 40 seconds before he picked up. He probably didn't know I was live-streaming, and as soon as he opened his mouth, he started cursing at me. Whatever you do, you've already said you won't give me a single cent from the lottery winnings. Begging me won't help. I'm speechless. The live stream's popularity skyrocketed instantly. One of the journalists present couldn't stand it and wanted to say something, but I gestured for him to be quiet. Stopping him, I cleared my throat softly and pretended to be ingratiating. Don't say that, Simon. After all, you're my brother-in-law. We'll be seeing each other often in the future, so why make things so tense? Ever since he married Jenny Murphy, everyone at the school had been cold to him. Today, when I suddenly backed down, he was taken aback and froze in place. What? Trying to cozy up to me now? Jenna, how shameless can you be? Did you just check the results and realize I'm about to hit the jackpot? Trying to suck up now? Too late, I'm telling you. His tone was smug, and I was so disgusted I almost threw my phone. Before I could answer, he went on, I'm telling you, even if you come back to us now, it's useless. My score is out. Just like Xiaoqi said, I got a 0. You know how well I used to do, so this score is absolutely impossible. Sorry, Jenna, from today on, I'm going to live the life of the rich. Haha, Simon must be genuinely happy right now, laughing hysterically. I didn't even have time to say anything before he hung up the phone, overwhelmed with joy. Scoring is 0 and still being this happy, I genuinely envy his mindset. The barrage exploded. Damn, that guy actually got a 0 on the test. Oh my god, does that mean Jenny Murphy is about to win the lottery? Really? Is there really such a thing as a system? Amitabha, system, come find me quickly. I also want to bind with Snake. I also want to win the big prize. Heaven and earth, spirits and gods, listen to my command. What nonsense is that above? That Simon is clearly just hyping it up. The journalists present were also quite excited. Someone glanced at the bullet comments and asked if I had coordinated my story with Simon. I let out a bitter laugh and directly showed them the call records on my phone. During this period, I had long been at odds with that family. Jenny Murphy would send me malicious insults for no reason, and my father even went as far as crying pitifully and hurling insults in one go. I haven't blocked them. I've silently accepted everything. Let them curse me. If they don't curse me harshly enough, I'm afraid I might soften my heart. People online often describe family bonds as thin as paper, but in real life, there are many tangled and complicated relationships that are hard to cut through. In this lifetime, I will never hold any expectations for them. After reading the text message on the phone, the reporter looked at me with a bit more sympathy in their eyes. My uncle glared angrily, saying, your father is getting more foolish as he ages, superstitious to the point of abandoning his own child. He grabbed my wrist and made the reporter clear a path. Everyone, step aside. I'm going to check out the situation over there right now. It's truly absurd. If he really won the lottery, I'll write my name backward. Damn it, what an embarrassment. Although he only studied up to junior high school, my uncle raised 2 college students, so his educational level is not low. He is almost 60 and simply doesn't believe that there could be any strange system in the world. To him, it would only seem like his brother had encountered some misfortune or evil. I am also very curious about the situation over there, since my uncle is taking the lead and bringing me to see what's going on. Of course, I have no reason to refuse. Anyway, I have nothing to do with that system now. As a bystander, I'm more than happy to watch. The live stream followed us the whole way. When we arrived, the entrance was packed with people, neighbors were watching the spectacle, and reporters who had caught wind of the news were conducting interviews with their cameras and microphones. Simon already knew we were live streaming, and as soon as he saw me, he showed a look of disgust and anger. You still dare to come to our house, Jenna? You actually set me up by live streaming. I sneered and pointed behind him. This is my house, and you're not the live-in son-in-law. He reached up to push me. Get out of here. Good boy. Do you think I'm dead? Uncle raised his hand and slapped him aside. We followed Uncle smoothly into the house. On the dining table in the living room lay a notebook. Clearly they were also checking scores. On the square white interface, Simon's score was projected, a glaring red 0. I turned around and looked left and right. Where's Jenny Murphy? Not only was Jenny Murphy not there, but Simon was the only one at home. Simon snorted coldly. She already got a call from the sports lottery and went to claim her prize. Holy shit, really? A reporter who followed couldn't help but blurt out a national expletive. I narrowed my eyes and smiled calmly. Sounds good. Look at these people chasing after them like cats spotting mice, asking all sorts of questions. I don't believe the relevant authorities won't show up after today. No, the main focus of the live stream is no longer me, although my uncle and aunt don't believe in ghosts or spirits. Seeing Simon speak with such conviction made them feel a bit uneasy. The three of them dragged Simon out to look for Jenny Murphy, and I followed them the whole way, sticking close no matter where they went. The familiar lottery shop entrance. The owner inside is still the Uncle Huang from memory. In her previous life, Jenny Murphy's first big prize was drawn right here, which led to a long-term relationship and a business that followed her sudden wealth. At this point, he hasn't yet become wealthy and portly, nor is he respectfully called Master Huang by anyone. However, his attitude is unusually poor this time. As soon as we arrived, we were met with a deafening uproar of arguments. How could my lottery ticket possibly be fake? Look carefully, it's exactly this number, Jenny Murphy's shrill voice shouted. All right, I've already said I won't play along with your publicity stunt. Go back where you came from. If you keep this up, things will get out of hand. Uncle Huang impatiently shooed them away. We were left bewildered, as some reporters couldn't wait and rushed forward. Seeing the media arrive, Jenny Murphy immediately began tearfully complaining to the cameras. Please, help me judge this fairly. I bought a lottery ticket yesterday, and I was just notified that I won. Now this unscrupulous boss is refusing to honor it. This is $687 million they want to embezzle. I have the receipt here. If you don't believe me, take a look. This is the winning number for today. Jenny Murphy held the lottery ticket in her hand, pressing it close to the camera. It was clearly written that she had indeed won $687 million. The onlookers were in an uproar. The barrage exploded more intensely than New Year's celebrations. Holy crap, did you see that? $687 million. Oh my god, I'm in the same class as Simon. I can testify that this is the score he could get. There really is a system. Damn it, I also want to win $6 million. Why won't you marry me? The clown is actually me. I regret it. System beauty, please take care of me. Volunteering to share the bed. +1, +1, +1. The pressure is now on Uncle Huang from the sports lottery. Uncle Huang rolled his eyes and firmly denied it. What, $600 million? That girl must be out of her mind dreaming of money. He pointed to the numbers on the ticket stub. Take a closer look. The numbers here don't match the first prize at all. Let's just say I made a mistake earlier. Okay, I'm willing to apologize, but with all these media outlets you've brought here today, I really can't cooperate any further. He speaks in a jumbled manner, and I can't understand him. The reporter anxiously scratched his head. Boss, could you explain more clearly? What exactly is the situation? Did classmate Chang win the prize? This time, Uncle Huang answered. No. He shook his head and sighed. It's all my fault for being so foolish. I wanted to ride the wave of the college entrance exam to gain some attention, but I never expected you all to make such a big fuss. I'm scared. All right. Jenny Murphy didn't win the prize at all. It was all a gimmick we played along with to attract people to buy lottery tickets. I'm done. I'm not playing anymore. He waved his hand dismissively, turning around as if to close the door and run away. Jenny Murphy glared fiercely. You're talking nonsense. The situation took a shocking turn. No one expected Uncle Huang to firmly insist that he hadn't won the prize, adamantly claiming that Jenny Murphy was just seeking attention. What's the deal with Simon's 0 score? Can lottery tickets even be fake? I watched in astonishment from the side. In my previous life, Uncle Huang hadn't said anything like this. He had happily cashed the prize for Jenny Murphy and even praised her for turning $10 into a fortune. Could it be that in this life I've escaped the fate of being a tool and caused a butterfly effect? Jenny Murphy insisted on winning the prize. Uncle Huang firmly refused to admit it. The two sides were in a heated dispute, and the police arrived. Although I was not a party involved, as Jenny Murphy's sister, I was also invited to the police station. The female officer at the reception asked me a few questions. Knock, knock, knock. Someone was at the door. Hello. 7th Security Bureau, Jiang Yi. The man who entered flashed a black ID photo, and my heart skipped a beat. I realized this was a regular who had been dining at my uncle's house lately. Back when the scores were released, he had struck up a conversation with me. Now, he had transformed into someone from the relevant authorities. After waiting for so long, they had actually been lurking by my side all along. My mouth dropped open in shock. Jiangyi waved his hand in front of my face with a smile. "What's wrong, miss? Do you know about my department?" I swallowed hard. No. He narrowed his eyes, his 30-year-old face sharp and intelligent, giving me the immediate sense that my lie had been seen through. He waved the policewoman out, leaving only the two of us in the interrogation room. Jiangyi took out a voice recorder and placed it on the table. "May I record this?" I obediently said yes. In my previous life, I was constantly scolded and too afraid to go out, year after year, which eventually drove me into depression. Everything about the 7th Security Bureau was relayed to me by my family. My stepsister said those people were terrifying, like spiders that could get into every crack, weaving an invisible web to monitor from behind. She repeatedly claimed that those taken by the 7th Security Bureau would be dissected under surveillance. I don't know where she got this information, but the whole family believed it without a doubt. I was terrified and furious because they wanted to use me as a scapegoat in this life. Although I hoped the relevant authorities would come quickly to deal with them, deep down, I was still quite afraid. Jiangyi seemed to notice my state and reached up to pour me a cup of hot tea. "Don't be nervous. We, the 7th Security Bureau, are also police. This is a police station, and we won't do anything to you. Want a sip of water?" I held the cup, blowing on the tea leaves floating on the surface. He stared at me, his fingertips tapping lightly on the table. Suddenly, he smiled and spoke. "If I'm not mistaken, you must be a reincarnator, right?" My mind went blank, and I spat out a mouthful of water. "What are you talking about? What reincarnated person?" I jumped up in panic, then quickly sat back down, realizing I had overreacted, meeting his half-smiling gaze. I wiped my mouth and lowered my head. "Officer Jiang, I don't understand what you're talking about." My mind was already in complete chaos. A red alert suddenly flashed. Rebirth is also a type of unnatural phenomenon. I never expected him to guess at a glance that I was a reborn person. Could it be that they are really spiders, constantly monitoring me from behind the scenes? Jiangyi took in my reaction, his smile deepening. "Don't be nervous. I told you I'm a police officer, although I don't know why you're so afraid of me. I promise I won't do anything to you. Let me reintroduce myself. My name is Jiangyi, badge number 134279, and I'm an investigator with the 7th Security Bureau. I also have another identity. I'm a cyber police officer. The reason I've come to you recently is because you've been anonymously posting a lot online about your sister and the system. Unlike the popular novels on the internet, you've written in great detail, as if you've seen it all with your own eyes. That's why I was ordered to stay by your side, partly to protect you, and partly to investigate the truth. If you don't believe me, you can call 110 right now to check my badge number. I'm not lying to you. I really am a police officer." He looked sincere and straightforward, pulling out his phone as he spoke and handing it to me. I waved my hand awkwardly. "No need. I know you're a good person. A bad person wouldn't dare commit a crime at a police station either." Once I realized this, my fear of him lessened by half. He smiled and asked if I was a reincarnator, and I countered by asking why he thought so. He fiddled with his phone for a moment and pulled up 3 recordings. The first call was 9 days ago, between me and my aunt. "Really? Don't buy this, aunt. Trust me, that place will become an unfinished building in the future. Whoever buys it will be unlucky." "You child, what nonsense are you talking? It's true, aunt. Look at this neighborhood. It would be great to find a wedding house for my cousin here. This location is about to have a subway line." "Really? Let me see." The second recording was from 7 days ago, between me and my eldest cousin, Jenna. "I can't find any news about the subway being built. Where did you search for it?" "You can't find it online. I heard it from a friend." "Oh, you little rascal. I thought the Huadi neighborhood was really going to get a subway." "You're still young. Don't listen to your friend's nonsense. It's true, bro. I guarantee that neighborhood you saw before will be abandoned in 2 years. I swear to heaven." Sigh, talking nonsense again. The third recording was 6 days ago, still between me and my eldest cousin. "You're amazing. How did you know Brazil lost 0-3 and Portugal drew 1-1 last night?" My friend told me. "Your friend is really something. Damn it. I knew Brazil was throwing the game. The result was fixed for sure, right, bro? My friend really has the inside scoop. Trust me. How about taking another look at that neighborhood I recommended to you before?" "All right, I'll take another look." After the 3-way call ended, I was absolutely terrified. No wonder Jenny Murphy said the 7th Security Bureau was like a spider watching us from behind. I had all those conversations at home with my family. Did they really plant bugs in my house? This is illegal, isn't it? Before I could even ask, Jianyi's smile faded as he explained, "I'm sorry for violating your and your family's privacy rights, but we have already detected the presence of the system. In extraordinary times, we must resort to extraordinary measures. The system attached to your sister is very dangerous. In our database, it is codenamed Greedy Ghost. If this kind of system doesn't bind to a host, it's fine, but once it binds to a human, it will stimulate the host's greed while extracting the life force of the host's relatives up to 5 generations away to strengthen itself. You've been targeted, and if nothing unexpected happens, you'll be plagued by misfortune and won't live past 10 years. For your protection, we have no choice but to do this. I hope you can understand." His tone was grave and steady, but to my ears, it was deafening. Is that really how it is? I recall the tragic fate of my uncle's family in my previous life. My uncle was disabled in a car accident, my aunt suffered a stroke and became paralyzed, my eldest cousin bought a wedding home in an unfinished building, and my second cousin's newlywed wife was raped. In a fit of rage, he confronted the perpetrator and was accidentally killed, and my aunt, my cousin's wife, my cousin, my uncle, no wonder everyone was so miserable in my previous life. It was all because of Jenny Murphy's system, unknowingly plunging into the abyss. But what was Jenny Murphy doing at that time? She was hailed as the goddess of luck across the internet, with suitors lining up from Beijing to Hainan. Did she know that the price of sudden wealth was sending all her loved ones to hell? Was she completely unaware, or was it deliberate? I don't know. All I know is that after my family became wealthy, those relatives never came around again. The room temperature seemed to drop by 8 degrees, and I felt a chill all over. Endless thoughts exploded in my mind, and the more I thought, the more afraid I became. Just moments ago, I thought the 7th Security Bureau was like a spider, but now I wish the spider would quickly weave its web and hide me inside. The unknown existence was too dangerous. I needed protection. I no longer held back and revealed everything I knew. Rebirth system, sudden wealth, signing a contract, snake game. Repeating. 3 hours later, I finally emerged from the police station, utterly exhausted both physically and mentally. I didn't return to my uncle's house. Jianyi said I was a very important reborn individual and arranged for me to stay in a hotel under strict protection. A young girl named Wendy was assigned to stay with me. She is Jianyi's subordinate, sent to closely watch over me. Wendy is 1 year older than me, so I call her Sister Wendy. She is a cheerful and lively girl. Coincidentally, I had previously persuaded my aunt not to buy an unfinished property by fabricating a well-informed friend, and she seized the opportunity to step into that role. My uncle's family had no suspicions about her, thinking she was my classmate. When they heard I would be staying with her at the hotel, they asked about the details of the house and then saw us out. Today, Jenny Murphy was the center of attention. When we returned to the hotel, Jenny Murphy was still stuck at the police station and hadn't come out yet. Sister Wendy said that Jenny Murphy had been taken to the headquarters of the 7th Security Bureau and wouldn't be able to leave until the greedy ghost was extracted. I asked nervously, "Will you dissect her?" Sister Wendy replied with a mix of amusement and exasperation, "No. She hasn't been possessed by the greedy ghost for long enough to become its vessel. If the possession lasts over 5 years, she and the greedy ghost will merge into one. Without dissection, we can't kill the greedy ghost, but now it's different. The greedy ghost is still just a little seedling. She'll be fine. It's just that the separation process might be a bit painful, roughly equivalent to giving birth to 10 babies at once. It's nothing serious. Damn, the pain is like giving birth to 10 babies at once. I can't even imagine. But when I think about how we were unlucky in our past lives because of this system, it feels incredibly satisfying. It is said that after I confessed everything, Jianyi immediately requested a ghost cry from his superiors, a device that can make people tell the truth. Faced with the treasure, Jenny Murphy admitted that she knew the price of sudden wealth was the loss of vitality for all her relatives. Yet, when Jianyi questioned her about whether this was too selfish, she went into a frenzy. "They're just a few poor relatives. What does that have to do with me? That's 687 million. Just give them a little money when the time comes. This is money my father could never earn in a lifetime, and he agreed to it. Why should I be blamed?" Hearing this, my heart turned as cold as ice. It really was done on purpose. No wonder she's my dad's illegitimate daughter. Luckily, I take after my mom. While scrolling through Weibo at night, the entire internet was in an uproar. The top 5 trending searches were all related to Jenny Murphy, while my record-breaking college entrance exam result was pitifully buried at the bottom. #Jenny Murphy hype #, Simon admits to hype with Jenny Murphy #, HD video shows Simon intentionally filling in wrong exam admission number #, capital behind Jenny Murphy I'm dazzled by the spectacle. It was clearly the 7th Security Bureau that secretly informed the lottery boss, altered the lottery content, and kept watch over Simon, my dad, and stepmother. Yet the truth has been twisted into a farcical drama orchestrated by Jenny Murphy in collaboration with Simon. Online criticism is pouring in like a tidal wave. I might not be human, but you, Jean, are truly a dog. Are you so desperate for fame that you'd even play games with the college entrance exam? This is absolutely outrageous. Damn it, are the current internet famous countries really not regulating this? I really believed in your evil system, you motherfucker. I can't take it anymore. I thought there was really a system, but it turns out to be just another hype. You guys are really going all out, aren't you? Both families are also bizarre. Actually holding a wedding banquet just to go viral. Was the top scorer in the province being beaten also part of the plan? This is just unbelievable. The comments are unbearable to read, but seeing that most netizens are cyberbullying Jenny Murphy, I feel relieved. She deserves this. When she wanted to sacrifice us, her own family, for her own greed and wealth, I felt nothing but coldness toward her. Sister Wendy said that systems like the greedy ghost are not uncommon, and under intense international crackdowns, the whole world is deliberately keeping them hidden. Their true forms are not systems at all, but unnatural creatures whose origins remain unknown to this day. Some devour human life force. Others consume human flesh. Some scientists suspect they are aliens invading Earth, while archaeologists suspect they might be ancient mythical beasts. The only similarity is that they need to inhabit a human body. The condition is that humans actively cooperate. In her previous life, Jenny Murphy merged with the greedy ghost after 7 years of companionship. My sister Wendy lent me the treasure reincarnation pillow, allowing me to see the aftermath in my dreams. After my death, Jenny Murphy inserted 1/10 of the greedy ghost's body into me, unified the family's account, and successfully convinced the 7th Security Bureau that I was the host. Unfortunately, my resentment was too strong, and the examiner noticed something amiss during the research. By the time they discovered I was the scapegoat, Jenny Murphy had already fled the country with her entire family. After joining forces with other greedy ghosts, she became a major threat to the 7th Security Bureau. They unleashed a plague at the border, causing the deaths and injuries of 100,000 innocent people who were unaware of the truth, and then spread the virus into the country. At the most critical moment, the head of the 7th Security Bureau approved the retrospective plan, sending an informed individual capable of changing the current situation back in time to prevent Jenny Murphy from growing stronger. After careful consideration, they chose me. Someone voiced opposition. Shouldn't we send our own scout back? Jenna is someone who aids and abets evil. Choosing her would be like throwing meat to a dog, a total loss. The commander was a young man dressed in black, his features unclear. His calm voice overruled all objections. It doesn't matter. Everything has a cause and an effect. Jenna is Jenny Murphy's scapegoat. I will send the resentment back to her when she looks back. If she doesn't change her ways, she will be doomed forever. And he seemed to say something more, but no matter how hard I strained my ears, I couldn't make it out. All I knew was that the world spun around me, and I was sent back 7 years. After waking from the dream, I told Sister Wendy everything I had seen. Sister Wendy nodded as she took notes. And once she confirmed there were no omissions, she took the recorded information and went to find Jiang Yi. She told me not to go out, and 2 days later, the young leader from the dream arrived, dressed in a black trench coat, holding a black umbrella. When he arrived, chaos was unfolding downstairs at the hotel. My parents, the Shen family's parents, and relatives from both sides. It seemed everyone already knew that Jenny Murphy's system would give them less than 10 years to live. Amid the clamor, the damned howls shook the heavens. I huddled in my room, watching the surveillance interface with great interest. Shen's father cursed my dad for being insane, not only ruining his son's chance to get into a top-tier university but also dragging the entire family down with him. My dad shot back, mocking their greed, cursing the Phoenix Men for deserving it, and even trying to throw punches. My uncle was overwhelmed and had no mood to mediate. If it weren't for the police stepping in to pull them apart, my dad and mom would have already been beaten to the ground. The spectacle of dogs biting dogs is particularly entertaining, reminding me of the joyful social media posts from two families hosting banquets a month ago. The more jubilant they were back then, the more bitter and resentful they are toward each other now. At the peak of the farce, the young chief walked into the hall holding a black umbrella. He strolled in with ease. Yet everyone's voices fell silent. I strained my ears to listen, but all I could see were their wildly gesticulating hands, though their mouths were clearly still moving. A profound silence enveloped everything. Sister Wendy once said that the chief is someone who dislikes noise, and wherever he goes, the space falls silent. I widened my eyes, watching as he passed by everyone from the side. The moment his figure disappeared at the elevator entrance, the noise surged back. It seemed as though none of them were aware of the young chief's presence. It wasn't until the chief rang the doorbell at my room that I snapped back to reality. "Hello, 7th Security Bureau, Jinrong." The chief took off his black gloves and extended a handshake toward me. I finally got a clear look at his face. His skin was fair, tinged with a sickly pallor. He was strikingly handsome, and his voice was pleasant to the ear. I cautiously brushed my fingertips against his. "Hello. My name is Jenna," he nodded, and after sitting down in the room, he introduced himself. "I am the current director of the 7th Security Bureau. Everyone is used to calling me Chief. I have already seen Wendy's report. You met me 7 years later, right?" "Yes, Chief. By that time, I was already dead. I saw it in the reincarnation pillow." "Very well. Since you lived for 7 years in your previous life, we have a task we would like to entrust to you. Would you be willing to help, Chief?" "Please go ahead." Before the chief approached me, I thought his purpose was to inquire about Jenny Murphy. Unexpectedly, he got straight to the point, asking me to truthfully record everything I would come to know in the future for him. I was puzzled, and the chief patiently explained, "In our bureau, there is a collaborator named the Grudge Ghost. Like the greedy ghost, it possesses the divine power to revive the dead and restore flesh to bones, sustaining itself by devouring resentment. If I'm not mistaken, you should have returned to the present by signing a contract with him. You gave it your resentment, and it allowed you to be reborn. Everything has a cause and an effect. In this life, the greedy ghost failed to grow stronger, and its resentment will become food for the vengeful ghost. What we need to do is use the 7 years of information you knew in your previous life to predict large-scale natural disasters in the future. For example, which country will have an earthquake, and which country will have a tsunami. By taking preventive measures in advance, we can minimize the losses. This is a unique contribution that a reborn individual can make to the country. Do you understand what I mean?" I was deeply moved and nodded like a chicken pecking at rice. I never imagined that being reborn could allow me to do something so significant. However, in my previous life, I was so disheartened that I rarely paid attention to social news. Hearing my concerns, the chief smiled slightly. "It's okay, we'll use the reincarnation pillow to help you recall. Remember as much as you can. No need to feel burdened. Once you complete this task, you can return to your normal life. In return, when you finish, we will also have a reward for you." He didn't specify what the reward was, and I didn't feel comfortable asking. Being reborn is already a stroke of incredible luck. It would be ungrateful to ask for more. I spent the entire summer vacation holed up in the hotel, recording my past lives. Jenny Murphy fell seriously ill after the greedy ghost was stripped away and spent over half a month in the hospital. The moment the greedy ghost left, the streak of bad luck that had been tied to us relatives dissipated. I don't know how the 7th Security Bureau managed it, but not a single person spoke out about the incident, keeping it tightly under wraps. The internet is ever-changing, and the news about the college entrance exam hype was suppressed, replaced by calm, uneventful daily life. Simon changed his name and moved to another city. It is said that no local schools would accept him, so under the arrangement of the 7th Security Bureau, he followed his family to a remote school to repeat his studies. My father and stepmother were taken by Jiangyi to witness the extraction of the greedy ghost. When they returned, they were so terrified that they seemed to have lost their spirits, shrinking back in fear. Seeing me affectionately call Jiangyi Brother Yi, they looked at me with reverence, as if I were a deity. The 30,000 yuan prize for being the top scorer in the province was issued. I saved it all, planning to use it as my living expenses for the 4 years of university. The 7th Security Bureau gave me 100,000 as a bonus for my hard work. Although I firmly refused to accept it, the money was still transferred to me. Sister Wendy said it was what I deserved, so I had no choice but to accept it. As I wrote the last word of my report, Sister Wendy gave me a hug. "You've worked hard, Jenna. I won't forget you. If fate allows, we'll meet again." I knew she was leaving, and I hugged her back reluctantly. "All right, I won't forget you either. If fate allows, we'll meet again." She had me sign a confidentiality agreement before leaving with a carefree air. I waved at her, filled with emotion. I never expected an ordinary person like me to experience so many supernatural phenomena. If I ever secretly told those around me about it, surely no one would believe me. It's a shame. Sister Wendy is a really nice girl, and it's rare to make such a good friend, only to have to part ways after just a month. I heard her birthday is in September, right after my university starts. I took out my phone, thinking about looking online to see what would be a suitable gift for a friend, but when the screen lit up, I froze for a moment. Buy a gift? Wait, who am I buying a gift for? Who is Sister Wendy? My name is Jenna, an ordinary provincial top scorer in the college entrance examination, because my exam score broke the provincial college entrance exam record. The provincial governor awarded me 100,000 yuan, and with the 30,000 yuan bonus from the school, I became a little rich girl with a huge sum of 130,000 yuan. Although my stepsister created a system hype with my classmates to gain fame, considering she was a minor, the school criticized and educated her without expelling her. However, her ability to handle pressure was poor. After facing overwhelming online bullying, she fell seriously ill in the hospital. And her health has never been the same since, with frequent bouts of illness, both major and minor. My father and stepmother argued countless times over taking care of my sister. After one incident of domestic violence, my stepmother chose to call the police. After 10 days of detention, Dad was released. He was a man prone to domestic violence, and as soon as he got out, he grabbed a stick to settle scores with my stepmother. However, she had already bribed some thugs, and they broke his leg. The house was in chaos, and my uncle, grumbling, took me back to his home. He said my father was a foolish and worthless man, and from then on, I would live with their family. He promised to treat me as his own daughter and said that when I got married, my cousin would carry me to the wedding. Somehow, I wasn't the least bit sad about my dad's broken leg. In fact, because my aunt's cooking was especially delicious, on my first day there, I polished off 3 big bowls in one go. My eldest cousin bought a wedding apartment, and not long after, the subway was extended there, causing the property value to triple. My second cousin married a gentle sister-in-law, and in the second year of their marriage, they had a pair of twins, a boy and a girl. My father came to see me several times later, cursing me for being unfilial while demanding that I hand over all my money to help treat his leg. He was disabled, and my stepmother divorced him. Taking the sickly Jenny Murphy to another city for medical treatment, my uncle was so furious that he was practically fuming, blocking my father outside with a broom. Seeing that he couldn't get any money, my father went to make a scene at the entrance of my university. Unfortunately, he underestimated his own notoriety. Some people recognized him as Jenny Murphy's father, who had been hyped online, and also knew that he had resorted to domestic violence against me to force my cooperation. After the news spread throughout the school, law students proactively helped me defend my rights, media students took the initiative to help suppress the public opinion, and security guards, having received approval, would swarm and drag him away as soon as they saw him. In less than 5 days, my father slunk away in disgrace. I heard that he was later beaten after being ambushed with a sack over his head, but whether it was true or not, I never verified. After graduating from Tsinghua University, I was hired by a Fortune 500 company with a base salary of 15,000 yuan per month. 3 years later, I married Xie Qiao, a fellow alumnus from the same school. After 5 years of dating, at the wedding ceremony, a friend arrived who pleasantly surprised me. I call her Sister Wendy. Sister Wendy's full name is Wei Lingling. She is an online friend I met during the summer after the college entrance examination. It is said that she has a friend who works as an internet police officer and is well versed in the many true and false pieces of information online. Over these 7 years, she and I have become inseparable friends, and thanks to her insider tips, our family has avoided many detours. I never expected her to attend my wedding, and with her was a young man holding a black umbrella. Sister Wendy introduced him to me. His name is Jinrong, a terminally ill otaku with middle school syndrome. I brought him out this time to meet some new people. You don't mind, do you? Of course I didn't mind. I was overjoyed. They brought me wedding gifts. Sister Wendy gave me a big red envelope with 10,000 yuan, and I exclaimed at her generosity. Jinrong, holding an umbrella, gave me a small bell, saying it was a reward for me. I wear it close to my body for lifelong good luck. I happily accepted it, thinking to myself that the way people with Chunibu speak is so adorable. But since then, I have truly lived a life where everything went smoothly. On my deathbed, I remembered everything. I finally understood what the chief had said that year. Everything has a cause and an effect. Jenna is Jenny Murphy's scapegoat. I will send the resentment back to her when she regresses. If she refuses to change her ways, she will be doomed forever. And this resentment will erupt 1,000-fold again in her rebirth. Only then will she understand what true hell is. But conversely, if she pulls back from the brink, we will also give the wronged ghost a chance to untie the bell. The one who tied it must do it. I hope she does not disappoint us. I was in tears. Plant good causes, reap good results. It turns out that my seemingly ordinary happy life was actually caused by just a small choice I made back then. I think I am lucky. Do good deeds without asking about the future. After hearing the 2 stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.